We can start.
Are you better now?
I'm better. I'm okay. We can always start.
Giving me anxiety vibes.
Why am I giving you anxiety vibes?
Because that's what I'm picking up.
But energies shouldn't be contagious, guys.
Energies are contagious.
But they shouldn't be.
But they are.
But they shouldn't be.
Oh.
We get to dictate what affects us. I'm sure we get to dictate what affects us.
No, energies are contagious, but it's what then happens after that. But you can still pick up what somebody's communicating. You can pick up the aura.
You can pick up the aura.
Yes.
So you're saying my aura is bad or...
It's troubled.
Your aura is not settled.
Don't answer for her. Don't answer for her. I just want you to answer this one.
Your aura is not settled, and I told you.
I'm thinking, I get nervous when I'm in the presence of people who are intellectually higher than me, because I feel like they're just gonna dim my lights through the podcast.
So who's more intellectually
you and Sizwe.
higher than you in this room?
It's you and Sizwe. Hi everybody, welcome back to Talks with Kells podcast, the first episode of the year 2023. It's not 2024. I said it's 2023. What a journey. What a journey. We have also Mbali Maseko. I'm a bit nervous. I don't know why. I think I should let my nerves calm down a bit. But thank you for pulling through on the podcast. As you've said, a lot of people don't want to come through. Hey, I think we need to address that one. A lot of people don't want to come through. We're not going to bash out any names though.
Why do you think that is?
I feel like, I don't know, it's either they don't fuck with what we do or they feel like they're not fit enough to be on the podcast. I don't know. Either way. It could be either way. They don't like our work, or they don't feel like we have something under our belt to go there and then expose ourselves to such audience. I don't know. I could be wrong. Okay. What do you think?
I don't know. Probably they don't fact with our social media life, you and I. And people and everyone else. I don't know. It's probably that. But more than anything else, I mean, people are people, man. Probably we said something about someone they don't like, could be, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think it happens. I mean, the biggest broadcast in Africa gets declined, so people will always have reasons, whether those reasons are communicated or not. But at the end of the day, y'all keep doing what y'all do.
Yes.
But you must also know that at first, she didn't want to pull through. At first, she's one of those who didn't want to pull through. Let's touch base on that. Why not? And what was the idea you had of the podcast be in your mindset? What kind of image did you create?
Look, the image created was from what I've seen. I've watched a couple of episodes.
Cool.
Of people that you've had talks with, conversations with.
Yes.
In my circle, outside of my circle. And I mean, it's you basically talking to people about their views, what they think of certain things, getting to know them better, in essence. But the reason why at first I was reluctant was because I was like, sure, do I really want to expose myself on that level? I mean, I'm on social media, but I'm not that active. I only post what is very dear to my heart, and mostly for marketing reasons, putting information out there. So it was like, do I really want people to know how I think, what I think, why I think what I think? Because I remember having a conversation with you and I was like, and this was a face-to-face conversation, and I said, I'm very big on protecting my space.
I wonder now.
Okay?
He looks like he doesn't remember.
I don't remember that conversation. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
She No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
So it's that, Ubuti, I'm very big on protecting my space, and I want to be in control of how or which people come into my world of thinking, of functioning, and so on and so forth. But it's basically because of that. It has nothing to really do with the podcast itself. It's just my own sort of protective strategies of self.
This is a PR answer.
Yes.
It's a much PR answer.
Not.
I'm telling you, it's a much
Duck and diving.
Duck and diving.
No, it's not. It's just it's the truth.
Can I ask you one thing?
Yeah.
So keep
What?
quiet.
Okay.
Keep quiet. So on social media, they've been saying, Buti, any lady you've brought on the podcast is your crush. Any. That's what they've said thus far. Any lady you've had to open up or Pretty Kekana. Who's the other one?
Miss Ratanda.
Wait, we'll get there. we'll get there. Which other one?
You've had
Kwezi Nontogozo,
Buntle.
Buntle and Palesa, yes. And then the latest one, yes, the latest one.
Okay.
Miss Ratanda.
The latest one, yes. They
Why
say-
is she the latest one? It's Miss Ratanda.
I think the conversation about what he's going to ask you now sparks from that interview.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, that interview sparked a lot of comments. With everyone you bring on the female side, everyone you bring on the podcast is your crush. Do you believe you're my crush?
Nah. Nah.
But
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
why wouldn't you?
Why not?
Exactly. Why not?
Hey, but guys, then you're crushing on a whole lot of people. Like, wow.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
And very
That is
very
a good
different
one.
people at that. You know, I mean, I've watched of the two ladies that you had. Sorry, I can't remember their names, but I mean, very different to me, very different to Pretty, very different to Pearl. All quite dynamic in their own way, but quite different. So really, then it means you mixed up. You don't know what you want, what you like. Then it says a lot about you. If it's a yes.
So anything bad that happens on the podcast, it reflects on me.
It reflects on you. It talks with Kells. I mean, who's Kells?
But like, there's an entire team making this thing to fully function.
But
An
people are
entire
thinking
team.
Kells.
An
The last
entire
episode you
team.
had with Miss Ratanda, I said to you, you
Caesar,
were
let's not
flirting.
go there. Caesar, let's not go there.
Okay.
Let's not go there.
All right. I said you were flirting. Oh.
But I wasn't.
You
but
were.
either way, it's fine. Are you not nervous? Because I am.
No, I'm not.
Shoo.
I'm not nervous at all.
What can we talk about?
You start. Awakened Aura. Let's start there. Yeah, I wanted to start there, and then we'll go to Mucha.
Okay.
Yes.
So what about Awakened Aura? Do you want to
Awakened
know?
Aura. What
is
is
it about?
Awakened Aura? Let the people know what Awakened Aura it is and what it means to you and what it does.
Okay, so Awakened Aura is my own brand.
Okay.
It was established in the year 2001. 2001, yes. 2000 was lockdown. So 2001, and it stemmed from an idea where I wanted to just acquire a different skill outside of, academics, outside of the work that I do with the NGO organization Mocha. Just a skill, you can't not have enough skills. So I decided, okay, I want to do a scent mixing class or attend a scent mixing class. I want to also dabble into candle making. So it was one class,
Okay.
2 in one class. And at the time, I knew I wanted to make my own scents, mix my own scents, create my own candles and all that. Because I felt like what I wanted was not really in the market. And what was affordable was not of good quality. And what was of good quality, not all the time, but most of the time, is way out of my budget
Okay.
or my expense range. So then I went to the class, basically did the class, which was very interesting, and I acquired the skills to do that. Then I thought, okay, I'm going to start mixing my own. But I thought, okay, why would I start just mixing? I can't have more than 2 scents at a time in my own home. So what do I do? So I thought, okay, why not start a business? And big on aura, big on energies, that's me. So I thought I wanted to create a brand that spoke to that, to say it needs to awaken a certain aura in people. I mean, it's a scent, 5 senses.
Yes.
We smell, we touch, we hear, we see. Did I leave one out?
You left one out, definitely.
We taste. Okay, so scent speaks a lot to who we are as a people. And depending on your environment, I mean, you walk into a home, how a home smells says a lot about a home. And I thought to myself, why not create a product called Awakened Aura? You know, it will awaken a certain aura, which is luxurious, expansive, and, you know, just make a feel-good product, you know. And based on the different scents, you know, that people would be able to choose from, it would then speak to who they are. And that's how Awaken Aura was born. So this is one of my products. It's a reed diffuser. And I was very surprised at how a lot of people didn't know what reed diffusers were.
I was about to ask. And I know I'm not the only one in the room. Okay, maybe since there's an idea.
Now I know.
But I was about to ask because I'm not the only one.
Yeah. So this is a reed diffuser, basically.
Okay.
So these are reeds. Obviously, this is the actual perfume inside that I mix myself. So basically, during the class, what they do is they teach you how to mix certain fragrances, how to base it, and all of that. Okay. So it's not very technical, but you just need to know quantities and all of the likes.
Right.
And then these are reeds, basically. So there's different reeds. There's fiber reeds. These are natural reeds. There's all sorts of reeds. There's color reeds. I prefer these reeds because they just disperse the fragrance so much more easily because it's natural. There's no added materials to it. So you basically dip it into the perfume. So I have instructions on my packaging, on the box itself, where it tells you how to actually go about using the product. So you'll dip it, open up your perfume, and then you'll dip it. 24 hours, allow the bottom to absorb, and then you turn it around and the fragrance gets dispersed. And it then releases the scent or the perfume into the room. So basically it's that. So this is one of the products. So different perfumes or scents are available. I sell this at 250 Rand a bottle. It's a 200 ml bottle. And yeah, I mean, that's how it came about, basically.
And then during the course of your business or the establishment of the business, what has been the struggle for you?
The challenges have just been the fact that not a lot of people know what it is yet.
Okay.
And I mean, definitely getting it to clients that are outside of where I stay.
All right.
PAX is your cheapest in terms of courier with the product, but they don't take perishable goods. So I mean, this is a bottle, you don't want it to get to a client, next thing it's broken. So for you to add on a price as well. So those are just a few of the challenges. Not huge train smash, but I mean, it's just been that. But it's a cash on delivery business. So cash on delivery. It's 250 Rand. Really, no. If you don't have 250 Rand right now as you want the product, then wait until you have it and then I'll deliver, because I don't want to be running after people for 250 Rand. And I think that is what kills a lot of businesses. Exactly. And the next thing you must run after people and all of that. So that's
would you say in 5 years' time, where do you see the growth of the business, or rather what you specifically do?
Definitely expansion, where you don't just do it for, I mean, you sell it to individuals right now, but I mean, the bigger picture is I would want to go to selling it to businesses, your lodges, your hotels. So producing it in a mass type of quantity. That is what I want to see happen of the product, and obviously add on more products. Because how I define it, it's a home scent, it's home decor because it gives a certain look to your home. It's a home product in itself. It's an office product. So in the long run, why not add things that speak to that setup? So definitely going to grow it. That's going to happen. I mean, I introduced candles towards the end of the year. And we're gonna market that a bit more come February, because January I was like, okay, let's give them space, because schools and all of that are opening. People don't really have a budget for anything else outside of those. But we're going in hard as of February and continue doing what we've been doing.
Great. All right, so you have spoken. Let's go to Mbali Speaks. Where does it come from? What is Mbali Speaks? I know he doesn't even know what Mbali Speaks is. Do you know what Mbali Speaks is, Themba Kells?
I think I have an idea. I
He
think
does.
she's a public speaker or something like
Great,
that. Yeah.
great.
We'll delve into that.
Yeah, Mbali Speaks. I established it, 2000. When did I come back from Durban? Because I relocated to Durban for a while.
Head guess over here, David.
Was it 2016? No, 2020.
No, I
Just before
moved
that.
back from Durban 2015.
Okay.
Then I established it in 2016 or 17. So it's been a while. I did a proper launch and all.
Okay.
And I think the fire was still raging because of my time spent in Durban and why I moved to Durban. So it for me, Mbali Speaks meant empowerment through sharing of experiences.
Okay.
And traumatic experiences, that is, because I myself had gone through a hell of a traumatic experience and loss at the same time. And subsequent to that, I lost so many things after that, like one after the other. I literally didn't have a break to say, okay, I'm dealing with this now. Then, okay, I can lose something else. I'll deal with that. I literally I lost things consecutively.
Can you name those things?
Oh yeah, no. I won't delve too much into it, but I mean, I lost my daughter at 1 year, 5 months. She passed on tragically, unexpectedly, and one of the major reasons why I had to move, because I mean, grief. I just could not be in the same environment. I mean, we had a home with my then husband. I couldn't. Everything in my home reminded me of her. It was just a lot. I mean, my family was going through hell. We were all just going through a lot, and I couldn't. So I moved. So that was part of it. Coming back, marriage didn't work because of the grief, as well. Because when I moved, it was kind of a shock to the other party as well. And I think he, at the time, didn't understand why I had to move. And actually, my move was very prophetic as well. Because I believe had I stayed, I wouldn't have coped. Because even at the time, I was going through a phase of, grief has different stages. And at that time, just before I moved, and the good Lord spoke and he said, hey, you need to move from here. I believe it's because at that time I was indulging in a lot of alcohol consumption. I mean, yeah. To cope. No, and I was functional. Being dawa, but I was still functional. I mean, I would go to work during the week. I was working for a financial institution, then one of the big banks, and I'd still go to work. Ngizolala Sunday, drunk out of my mind, but Monday morning 5 o'clock I'm up, half drunk, but I still go to work. And I will travel to work every day until Friday. Friday, get home, drop my mom off because I was commuting with my mom, and drop my mom off, and I'd go. And we'd go drinking with my people. And we'd literally but it wasn't a safe space.
Yes, a safe space.
You wouldn't find me, drinking at that level at Bisnaye Tavern or at a pub or anything. It was literally in a safe space.
That's nice.
Another home. And we would just drink. And yeah, so basically, then came back from Durban, marriage didn't work out. It was that. So there's another loss. It's like, okay, and yeah, and things were just spiraling out of control. So during all of that, I mean, because of the time spent in Durban, like I said, I I learned so much about self, about processes of life, about grief, about death, about a whole lot of things that people didn't teach me. That literally God revealed to me as he was working on me, and carrying me through this difficult time. And through revelation and finding self in the process, it was a thing of, this is what I have called you to do. One of the things I've called you to do. You will uplift, you will encourage, you will inspire, you will empower others that have gone through similar journeys. Because, you don't get rescued out of a situation for you to just keep quiet about it. What if you make it through something in life, whatever it is because you need to equip the next person. And that is how Mbali Speaks was born, out of that experience. And we launched it. It was beautiful. And I started, now this is where I started a page on it. Here and then I would write. But I think because personally I'm not big on social media, even now, I do struggle to run some of my pages. I mean, it sort of dwindled. So it sort of dwindled and I let it slide. And I thought, probably not the right time for it. And I carried on. And so on and so forth. So, long and short of it, I rekindled the whole flame again on Instagram.
Okay.
With my lives. But now it was more, because remember at the time when I launched it, it was more about the grief and everything. And you know what? I still need to go back and do it. It's one of the things that haunt me.
Till today.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that I was sent to do. Divinely so. It's not going to go away. It's not going to go away.
It's not going to go away.
No. It has to be... It has to be established. It has to take form, and it has to. There are people that you are assigned to in life, whether you know them personally or not. Emakaya or Engutu or Maseru for that matter. But there are souls and people that are assigned to you as a human being, and you are called to assist in their lives or to do whatever that you're called to do. And until you do that, it's not going to go away. You have to do it. So it's one of the things that I still need to do. It haunts me. It haunts me every day. I just feel like, as human beings, and sometimes this is the downfall, we entertain too much of our personal emotions and but I'm not ready for this or that or the other. And meanwhile, it's not about that. It's not about you. It's about what you are called to do, the assignment that you are called to fulfill. So yes, it haunts me, and it's something that will be done soon.
When can we expect it to be fully functional?
Hey, and us.
At least give us a time frame.
No, I don't know. It will be a feeling, that I get. And it will just start. Or it will continue rather, because it has started. So it will. Even on Instagram, I did a couple of interviews, and here and there would touch on that, would touch on purpose, would touch on things on, on those conversations that I have with the specific people that I would invite. And there as well, it kind of halted, not because there was a lack of, guests or anything like that. I think, again, it's that call to say, okay, why are you running away from this? This is what this is what you need to address. Yes, they're relevant and kind of attached to it, because psychology is a big part of trauma. But I think some of it does not reach its peak because it's diversions. It's like you don't really want to go there. So yes, I started Mbali Speaks again on Instagram, but I have to take it to where it needs to go.
Please do take it. Please. It definitely needs to exist.
It's great. You must watch the lives.
Yeah, they're saved. The lives are saved. But yeah, I know for a fact that the conversations need to be related to what they need to be related to.
So anyone going through trauma right now, how would you say you recover from trauma or you go through a healing process? How do you come back to or rather from everything of which you have faced and what was uncomfortable for you?
You have to embrace it. A lot of people don't get to healing. They don't get to start the process and the journey of healing because they run away from it. When you go through a traumatic experience, you have to embrace it. You have to feel every single emotion, every single pinch that it comes with, like yonke into. You have to submerge. That's the right word, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Into it. You have to, because it has to create certain things in you for you to then get out of it. Like when I was going through that phase, the drinking phase and everything, it was me feeling it, and it was leading me to do certain things. But in the doing of certain things, that's where I found somewhere or somehow a starting point to my healing. That is where, for me, it was God that literally said to me, Lalela, you need to now leave this place where you're at, and that was where my healing journey started. And even when I got to Durban, it was not like, okay, I left Heidelberg or Ratanda, I'm here now. All I ever did in Durban was cry literally for about 3-4 months. That's all I did. All I did was bawl. I would drive from Efletini to work. I worked in Mhlanga. On the way there driving, I'm crying. I get to the office, clean myself up, go work. As I'm working, emotions would come flooding. I leave my desk, I go to the bathroom, I cry. And all I would say to God at that time was, "Kubuhlungu." That's literally the only words I could utter. So I had to submerge myself into it. You have to go into it. You have to feel it. And in you feeling it, best believe, Uguti, it will not lead you to doing maybe committing suicide or anything, because there's a help that is divine that is going to sort of surround you whilst you're going through that, cushion you whilst you're going through that. So first thing first, submerge yourself in it, feel it, whether you've been raped or whether you were abandoned as a child, whether you've gone through an abusive relationship, whether you have experienced toxic friendships where you are belittled at work, whatever the experience is, be truthful about it, how it makes you feel, and submerge yourself in the feeling of it. That's for me, the very first step in dealing with trauma.
In that moment of drinking, or rather being exposed to alcohol, not to a point where you couldn't walk, of course, but do you believe it was a cry for help for you? Where you're actually saying, I'm going through such a catastrophic moment and I need help. And maybe people around you, I'm assuming, they weren't paying attention to that, or they didn't hear your cries.
It wasn't a cry for help. It was me knowing what I was feeling and me numbing it. Me just not wanting to face it fully. I knew, Uguti, what has happened, and maybe not the extent of it, because only when I got to Durban, really, it's like that protective layer almost yasuka, and I was alone.
You're alone, yeah.
Yasuka. When I get to speak about my traumatic or my trauma and my loss, and I'm invited to events and I talk about it, I always say, I don't think had I experienced the full capacity of my pain and my reality at the time, I don't think I would have been sane. I don't think I would have survived the jaws of the intensity of that pain. But I believe God God decreased it for me, minimized it for me, and gave it to other people around me to feel what I was feeling. It's very divine. It's very divine. It's very deep. And then only when he said to me, move, he knew that I was now at a point where I needed to feel it. And when I got to Durban, he sort of opened the capsule and said, this is what it is.
Be exposed.
And you alone. He didn't do it whilst I was here. I had my family, I had my friends. Instead, when I was here, I was strong. Literally. People were like, I was strong. My mom was devastated. Part of the reason why I literally had to move as well, because I moved out of my marital home because I couldn't cope with the memories, everything that was going on around, like there. I moved back home, but my mom was buckling under everything. Cry. And I was like, oof, I can't handle this now. You know, so my move came divinely so at the right time, but only not to just get there and carry on with life, only to really now go into it. So people around me, they knew, and I love them to this day because they understood the phase I was in. Nobody said stop. Nobody said, why you pooza? Even my mom, I mean, I'd get home, change, take a few clothes, toiletries, and leave the Friday. And go. She knew where I was, the people I was with, but she knew, that is what I needed at the time. So they were very much aware. They knew. And hence, even during that experience of drinking, I mean, people would come into that safe place and I'd be out of it, but nobody out of my circle would allow anybody to come near me. They were so conscious of Guti. She's doing this not because ulahlile, because she's going through what she's going through. Don't. There'd be guys coming in, bagbona, some of them dalabagfuna, but they couldn't have access to you, and now you're here, you under the influence of alcohol, and my people would literally say, or they chase them away. So it was that. Basically, my people knew what I was going through. Nobody was in denial of anything, but it had to happen the way it happened.
Anything you want to ask? Seems like you're reaching with something.
Okay, no. I wanted to ask, you speak about a lot of self. So I think with healing, it needs to start with self. So what advice can you give, like, as far as the importance of self-introspection is concerned in anything that you go through?
Yo, guys, self is the starting point of anything and everything, whether be it trauma, whether be it the journey of healing, whether it being finding self again, whether it being pursuing your dreams, whether it being, everything begins with self. I mean, I can't do for Kells what I cannot do for myself. I can't think for Kells what I cannot think of myself. So yonke does starts with self. And I think where a lot of people get it wrong, and I think also myself included at some point in my life, it's you wanting to put others before yourself, and it doesn't work like that. It can never work like that. I mean, in my finding healing, I don't think I would have healed the way that I did had I not said, I'm leaving everything behind and I'm following this voice and I'm doing me. It wouldn't have happened, because people will distract you from what is truly supposed to happen. People will want you to heal in a certain way. I mean, I'm speaking about trauma and loss and pain and recovery. So I'll be more specific on that. People will want to say, you can't heal gusaqeli ithombe zakaibanban susi ithombe, or why don't you go to the gravesite, or don't listen to the music you were listening to, for an example. But they don't understand that it's your process, it's your healing that needs to take place, so self is the center and the nucleus of everything that happens around you. So even when things go wrong, stop. return back to center and say, what has self done to contribute to this situation? And that is where accountability comes in, because as self, you need to be extremely accountable for everything that happens to you and around you. Yes, there are things that people will do to you that you have no control over, but we need to be so conscious of the fact that you get to a point of asking yourself, but why did Sizwe take advantage of me? What did I do to allow him to do that? Why did Kells slap me?
That's a wrong reference.
No, I'm using the names in the room. You know, why did he slap me? What did I do to get him to a point where he thinks or he felt comfortable enough to slap me? And from answering that question, you know how to respond.
Can I ask you one thing, which is quite funny? In the midst of all that,
Yeah.
because I don't know how true is it, but they say that human beings are creatures of emotions than logic.
Unfortunately.
Yes. So in you assessing this whole situation, why did Kells slap me? What did I allow for him to go to such an extent and feel free to do that deed? Are you being emotional or are you being logical?
That's you being logical. But for me, my experience was, personal experience is that I have to first go through the emotions to get to the logic. You know, I mean, if umuntu, for an example, bad example, but I'll use that because we're talking about that. If you slap me, my first reaction, my first reaction will not be me saying, why, you know, why is he comfortable? My first reaction will be emotional. I'll either cry or scream or react in a certain way.
Or even hit me back.
Or even hit you back. So obviously you attend first to the emotion. Then when you are in your own space, go back. Yeah, but so I think what we do as a people is that we dwell too much on the emotions. You know, that we don't get to the logic part and the asking of questions with self or with others for that matter. So we dwell too much on our emotions, you know. We lack that emotional intelligence to say, okay, but there has to be a reason behind something.
Yeah. And another, I'm thinking of something. With us dwelling into emotions also affect a lot of our actions.
Of course.
So if you feel something, like I said, impulsively, or your reflex would be slapping him back, and that's what you felt. Emotions from what he makes you feel to what he makes you feel will then be what you decide to do after that. So it's hard to separate a lot of our emotions from our actions as far as...
It is hard. It is hard.
Logic is
it's interconnected, you'd say.
Yeah, it's connected.
It is interconnected, but that is where the work has to come in.
Yeah.
The work of saying, I need to work on my emotional responses. And so that Vela responding will happen. Whether you keep quiet, it's a response. Whether you stand up and leave, it's a response. Whether you talk, whether you sigh, it's a response. But it's in the situation when you've trained yourself enough with the experiences you go through daily. You get to a point where it becomes second nature to not just respond impulsively, but to sort of breathe and say, okay, what do I do now? You know, I mean, for me personally, it took me a long time to get to that, you know. Going back to my experience of loss and trauma, I mean, all I ever did, like I said, for the first 4 months was cry. That was an emotional response. And, you know, mine, yes, was divine in that even when I cried, God would still speak to me. And funny enough, he would still say to me, it's fine, I'll answer you when you're ready to be answered, you know. But with that said, I went through the emotional part of it, you know, for the longest time. And then when the emotions are depleted, you have nothing else left except to say, okay, what now? How do I respond now? who do I blame? That is where your mind starts working, because your emotions have now sort of settled. But it's training, it doesn't happen overnight. And this is one of the things. I mean, there's courses that people can go to sort of learn how to do these things. It's doing it every day with your own people, your family, and saying, if your child does this, let me not be emotional on my new rag or whatever, but how am I responding to it? So it's that for me.
Yeah, okay. All right.
You're covered on your side.
Hey?
Are you covered on your side?
Yes, I'm covered. But yeah, I'm covered.
But?
What?
I almost said something. No.
We don't feel
It's not a big but. Don't know.
We don't feel that.
It's not a big but. Don't know. It's just a but.
Okay.
You feel like you've spoken about everything you needed to speak about.
What did you want to know?
Mocha.
Oh, Mocha.
Yes.
Oh.
She's one of the head girls. I'm joking. She's one of the head girls of Mocha.
Head girls.
Inverted commas.
That sounds very high school.
Board member. What are you, sister?
No, yay.
What are you?
Okay, so Mocha. Okay, we all know about him, Mocha. I don't think I have to. Okay. So,
What is that? What is that?
He's had everyone from Mocha. He's like, no, I don't know.
Mocha is the present and the future and the be-all of NGOs. But
you
anyway,
can see the glow in the face.
Yeah.
it's passion. It's passion. It's one of the things that I believe I'm called to do. So in Mocha, I'm one of the directors. There's 3 directors. There's the founder, which we know pretty, and then there's 2 directors. I'm one of them.
Okay, the other one?
Karabo.
Oh, okay, cool.
Karabo Mnaheng. Lava. We call each other Lava. Okay, so there's that's the Sekua Sabaleja.
It's depleting now.
Yeah.
Now it's
Yeah.
depleting. My head is messed up.
Of the chain.
That's the
Depleting all the big words
That's
now.
the
You
hierarchy.
can't think again.
guys.
I thought I was the only one who's going through that.
No,
now.
it happens. Yeah,
Okay. I've never played. I've never played.
yes. So okay, it's that it's us, and then it's our members, which play a huge part. But my role in Emocha is I'm the I head. Excuse me. Oros has no Mariang Bodlis. So I head the girls program.
Okay.
So there's most boys and girls. So I head the girls programs. I am the head facilitator when it comes to the girls programs. So that's basically my role. Okay. So I oversee everything. For the past year, I've been facilitating most of our activations. So giving literally the coaching and the lessons and the mentorship. Well, we all give the mentorship, but basically I've been running the program. So that's basically what I do at Mocha.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what? But again, the depletion is coming this side now.
All right, my brother. How many percent left?
So I said depleter. No, we're still looking at time. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still looking at time. What did I want to ask? What the fuck did I want to ask?
You want to ask if you
Mocha
can
girls program, I don't know.
amalgamate Mbali Speaks with Mocha?
What was the drive behind you joining Emocha? I think that's the final question.
Okay, so with Mocha, I knew Pretty from primary. She was one of my seniors in primary school. And how I came about to join was that in 2000, my years, like there's so much that's been going on. I think in 2000, after I came back from Durban again, I needed something that I wanted to do because I had resigned and all of that. And I started something called a round table, youth round table, that I hosted at a father's house. And I invited young people, mind you, bengagcwelanga. So I wanted us to have a conversation, with young people around what they needed and all of that. And I invited a couple of speakers, and Pretty was one of the speakers.
Nice.
And I told her, okay, come through. Mocha was not established as yet. It was still in the pipeline.
All right.
Little did I know that they had an idea. At the time, it was her, Karabo, and another lady, Ututu. And they were thinking about this brilliant concept and all of that. I didn't know. I invited her to come speak at my event. And she came, did a brilliant job. And I still have pictures. I don't know if I can still access them, but yeah. Then she loved it so much, you know, just being part of that engagement. And then I remember her texting me and saying, Yazi, what I did with you at your event today has sort of stamped it to say, you know, what we're planning must actually happen. And so Mocha then was formed, right? Like I said, it was already in the pipeline.
Yes.
So when they were about to launch, then they were going to launch in Ratanda and in Soweto, because then one of the co-founders was in Soweto, based in Soweto. So then she then approached me. I was already doing MC work and speaking, and she said to me, look, I would like you to come and MC for both our launches. We're going to start in Soweto and then come to Ratanda. And that's how I then entered Mocha, you know, as an MC for them and all of that. So that's basically how I got into Mocha. Then fast forward, I think about 2.5 years, I'm not too sure. Then one of the co-founders left, and then she invited me to come on board like full time. And because I was familiar with the organization, I had been part of the launches and some of the programs that they already started, it was sort of like, why not? So then that's how I became part of it. And we've sort of grown a lot.
You have grown.
A lot from then. And we're still going to grow. Like today is such a significant day. We are, they're handing over the offices, Seven, now, in a few minutes. In how many minutes?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's growth, you know,
it's
it's
growth,
progress. It's not easy. It takes up a lot of time, a lot of sacrifices, a lot of work, hard work, that is. But it's meaningful. It's purpose. It's calling. It's just one of those things.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. Covered.
I'm covered myself.
Great.
Just
He's
one
so quiet
request.
today.
He's quiet. We only have just one request.
Which is?
Can you please close the show for us?
She was.
Please.
Okay, so
Please.
that was another amazing episode of Talks with Kells. We had a great engagement, and I certainly hope that this is an episode that will inspire, empower, and lift up somebody that is just down in the dumps, who doesn't know how to go about doing things, especially after a traumatic experience. But other than that, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming to the show.
Yes, thanks, blazings.
Done.
Doing it, bye.
I'm signing out. Thank you.
Yaza kukolula sulinye beti nithi mama ngizobuya ngifuna umsebenzi yaza kukolula ala kahle sulinye beti mama sengiyabonga ukhulisile noma nobaba sekashiyile ngiyahamba ngiyosibana ngisokolile indima idlalile ekhulu